But what concerns me even more is reference to actions, decisions, and in fact planning by the 5 of us that in my opinion did not occur and are false statements. And I'm specifically referencing Sheriff Matt English's statement. It is referenced again in the settlement in the packet today, but is also in detail in the testimony. He's asked by the arbitrator, in his opinion, can the county afford to pay the extra 7 to 9% for the LEA Association's position? And Sheriff English answers, I believe so. And he goes to describe a couple reasons why. One of them is what I just referenced, that we've had conversations amongst the commissioners in open meeting, again, that our wage scale in all of our departments, including the Sheriff's Department, are often not competitive to provide retainage for the departments. And we have had those discussions. And in many years of operating at a deficit, we've not been in a position to change that situation. But he goes on to describe that in open conversations at county commission meetings, that it is said that the 5 of us stated if the levy were to pass, there was some contingency in there in reference to underpaid deputies. Further, it goes even further to say there was planning that in the event the county had to compensate at a higher rate than anticipated, that the money was there in the levy. I bring this up because I personally, and I'm not going to speak for the rest of you, but in all of my communications, in all of my efforts, in all of my county commission discussions, I did not ever elude that the levy would cover raises for the Sheriff's Department. I want to make sure that this is recorded and stated for community members that now have access to all of this information, to my constituents and any voter in the county, that I did not participate in any type of planning that raises would be taken out of the levy. I find that a false statement, and I want to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Other commissioners?
I'd like to agree with Commissioner Joplin's statement. I did read that as well, and I do disagree. And I think it's important to state that because when we passed the levy, there wasn't a contingency in the levy for this purpose, and for sure we never discussed that in a public meeting. I think for that to be stated is unfortunate, and it looks like actually when you read the decision that the levy had a substantial effect or influence on the decision from the arbitrator, and I think that's unfortunate. Even in the order, several specific quotes are taken to that effect, and so not only do to me it seems crazy that the arbitrator could look at a temporary infusion of cash into a local government as some way to take care of something that's going to exist in perpetuity. But I am confused by the statements as well. Perhaps they were taken out of context. I don't know. I read the transcript. It looked like, I don't know what happened there. But I agree that that is not what we put on the ballot, and I think it's important for the voters to know that.
Chair
Thank you. Yes.
I would offer to the board that within the exhibits that were included to the arbitrator with the initial filings, a copy of the county's ballot measure was included. Yes. So the arbitrator actually had a copy of the county's ballot measure, could read it, and knew exactly what it said.
would offer that I testified and read the ballot.
They know that part.
Thank you. Other commissioners? Les?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I was very disappointed with the statement that the sheriff made, and I did not feel like it accurately represented fact. I feel like maybe we didn't put as good a case forward as we could have, and that seems to be evident in the when you read through the findings from the arbitrator. And it sounds like if one of us would have been there to testify regarding the levy and the reasoning behind the levy, that maybe it would have counteracted some of what the arbitrator was assuming. And he says that, basically. He flat out says that. And so I guess, as Karen alluded to, I think we need to have some discussions about our process and how we're handling these negotiations going forward, and what level of involvement that we have. I would hope that we would be called upon to help out in any of these instances if it is truly helpful. And in this case, it sounds like from the transcript that it would have been helpful.
Thanks, Les. Rich?
Yeah, I guess all I will say is there is a city in our county who changed their labor attorney, and the board members who deal with that new attorney feel like it was 1,000% better than the last guy. So there are better ones out there, and in my opinion, maybe we ought to be looking at new representation in that respect, as has been said. So, thank you.
Okay. This is Mike. I remember going through that process, trying to set up that ballot measure, and how we fought over 1 or 2 cents to get it down to as close and as tight as we could, and still get what we needed to get the full-time coverage in our sheriff's department. And to think that we have a bunch of leeway in that ballot measure to add on these additional costs is just wrong. It's not in there. I mean, we did it right down to the tightest penny we could do to get this through at the lowest cost to the people of Hood River County and get them what they need at this time. And I'm not saying that our deputies don't need this or isn't deserved. I think it is. But you just got to go through a process before you can get to where you need to be. Sometimes financially, you can't just always take a big jump unless you've got some rich dad or uncle or something. It just doesn't work that way. So it's a little frustrating. Heidi, is Matt on the call?
Chair, no, he is not, that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. Anyway, it is frustrating. I know we'll have further talks about this later at a more appropriate time in the process, but I'm glad we had this conversation this evening before we decide on this. And I believe we need to approve and sign the Law Enforcement Association contract as presented. So I'm going to need a statement from one of you to do so.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Benton?
Yes.
Commissioner McBride?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Joplin?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. So the law enforcement union contract has been approved by the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you very much. Okay.